So then it became very uncomfortable for me. When I used to finish performing, I have to leave. Like I used to leave. Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hi, how?
Hey, what's up?
I'm good. So guys, we are talking to Faisal and Tim. They're going to give us their opinion on sexual harassment and men. So Faisal, sexual harassment, do you know what it is?
Yeah, I think sexual harassment in terms of us as men, to be honest, mostly men, we don't know what sexual harassment is, like, because most of us we grown up in situations whereby ilikuwa tu like mchezo, unaona, so your mentality, unaona, when it happens you hata realize, unaona. So we are, most of us, even me, when I grew up, venye nilikuwa mbigi, when I became older, that's when I started understanding it. But me growing up, like I was raised by a single mom, unaona, so I didn't have that father figure kwa nyumba, unaona. So my mom never talked about those issues, akukuwa na highlight, because she wasn't there. I was raised by my grandma, so most of the stuff I had to learn by myself, unaona. So I never realized anything iki happen mpaka venye nilikuwa mkubwa, unaona. Yeah, so that's what I can say from my side.
Aha. And you, Tim, what's sexual harassment when it comes to men?
Well, also for myself, these are not conversations that we had when we were younger. I think you wouldn't know when someone is crossing the line in terms of probably physically engaging with you inappropriately. I think you'd kind of know, like when you're young, if you're naked, this is over and beyond. But I think this is something that guys have come to learn much later, I think way after teenagehood and all that. And so yeah, I think I'd say that. And I know it's a very touchy, forgive the pun, it's a very touchy conversation, especially with men. I think, yeah, especially if you were to link it with toxic masculinity and all that, guys feel like this doesn't apply to us, it's just a thing for the ladies. And yeah.
Have you ever been sexually harassed, and can you tell us of a scenario where you felt you were sexually harassed?
I've never been sexually harassed, never. But you could correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's few times you can be, if a men catcalled, men are not catcalled, but whatever the term is for that may have happened like 2 or 3 times, and you feel strange.
Ladies have catcalled you?
Oh yeah, like 2 or 3 times, but just very strange.
Did you like it? Did you welcome it?
I was shocked. It's just like, this does not happen to me. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Like, you know, I don't know how else to put it. It was just very surprising and uncomfortable. That is a word. I was very uncomfortable.
If it's uncomfortable, that was sexual harassment.
Oh my goodness. I've been harassed sexually.
You know, for women, it's natural for us. So like we can just, it's immediate, like it's instinct. I've been sexually harassed.
Tuned to that. And I think probably it's because men are the ones that make the advances more. And so women, ladies, girls, are more alert to that. You see the way a girl can tell you, this guy akona nia mbaya na labda ni vile amekusalimia o kitu kaa hiyo. And so they can see it from a mile. Guys, we are oblivious to these things. You could literally come here, sit and say all the things that me, I just think you're saying nice things and very nice. Kumbe uko na mpango.
You agree with him?
Yeah, as a DJ, that used to happen often. And
oh wow, that environment, yes.
So it's people are out of their way, like ladies, women, and for me it used to reach a point whereby I had to have a security guard, like Anaka Apo. That was in Milan. Yeah, so we used to have a security guard there because it used to get crazy. So yeah, and then they used to just take it to a whole new level, you get me? So then it became very uncomfortable for me. When I used to finish performing, I have to leave, like I used to leave. Yeah.
Immediately?
Yes, immediately.
What was the most extreme situation you can describe to us?
For me, the most, I was grabbed, like parts, like yeah, and I was like, what? That was like crazy. I didn't expect that from that person. Yeah.
Usually, when a woman is sexually harassed, it kind of stays with us. It becomes like a tattoo on us for months, years, and all that. We never really it sticks with us. How do men cope with sexual harassment? As for you, when you were grabbed, what was the after effects of it mentally?
For me, like, I don't know, how can I say? I was like, I have to do something, like, make sure that that doesn't happen again. And I was like uncomfortable, and I didn't see that person again because Ali, the security guard, talked to them. But for me, I feel like we just tunasahau haraka, we just forget fast. Yeah.
From what you've described, Tim, usually when I'm using a route whereby I know I'll find people who will chokoza me, we call it chokoza, and I'm uncomfortable, like the cat calling, I will avoid that route the next time as a woman. But for you, what did you do? Did you come up with a measure, or you're just like,
I brushed aside. I'm a guy. Funny thing, I think I laughed it off because I was in such disbelief that I am on the receiving end of such advances. And so I think that if I was ever in that situation again, I'd definitely take another route because it was very uncomfortable. That's all I remember. And you wouldn't want to put yourself in such a situation. Yeah.
And are men shamed for talking about sexual harassment?
I think there could be a stigma because guys, we are perceived to be strong and courageous and all these things, and we're the ones in control. And so by the time someone is on the receiving end of sexual harassment, there's a stigma. You feel like umse kwa nini hakufanya hivi na hivi? He's strong, he should have probably fended the person off, he should have done this and this and that. And there are cases that have happened, like a few years ago when, was it one guard or two guards that were raped by high school girls to death. Everyone would be like, si huyu ni mwanaume, angewasukuma wote, angehepa, angetoka mbio, hawangemfikia. But I think just going back to it, there's a stigma around it. I don't know what Faisal has to say.
What do you think of the shame that comes with talking to your peers about an incident of sexual harassment as a man?
For me, what I feel is, in terms of society, they take it like if you are a man and then that happens, it's sort of a taboo. You get me? Yeah, so then you find like men don't speak out that much, unaona. But now when something happens to a child and now the mother now has to speak out, because there was a segment I saw whereby I think it's Mkuru Anjenga or something, whereby small kids, they have to be walked to school because that's happening, and they've reported it to the police. Nothing is being done, you get me? So when that happens to you, you're like, okay, so who do I talk to? Unaona, so you keep it inside. But now when a mother and then the boy, that has happened to them, now the mother has to go through that and then talk about it. Unapata mtoto anashindwa hata kuongea, unaona. So it's taboo, unaona. And then you find different cultures in let's say in Kenya in general, you know, when something happens to the boy child, like nothing is done, unaona. Everything is just girl child, but things are happening to the boy child as well, and they're much intense, and we just have to create awareness about it. Yeah.
Okay, I think what I'm getting from the conversation is for men mostly it's just sweep it under the rug and move on, man up.
Yeah, more or less.
Yes.
Okay, thank you Tim, thank you Faisal.
Yeah. How do we uncondition for them to recognize sexual harassment so that they can stop Yeah, because the problem is they're not even
Yeah, and you're also gonna raise boys. Joyce is bringing up a very good topic, a very good statement of how do we uncondition men to, start talking and start reacting to sexual harassment towards them, because you two are men who are also going to raise boys.
Oh, yeah.
So how do we go about that?
I think conversations need to be had, and from an early stage. For us, I think the conversations that we were privy to, what we were being exposed to was, don't have sex. Sex is bad. There's gonorrhea and syphilis and all this, and they show you graphic pictures of how your manhood would look like once you get infected. And so we were scared out of anything sexual, but we were never told about how you could end up being on the receiving end of sexual harassment. And so what I think needs to be done is, at the same level that they introduce sex education, if I can call it that, science in action, class 6 HAPO, that's when we start having these conversations. I think they also need to bring that up in our curriculum. And so you begin training and equipping our young boys and girls, especially on this issue. Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Okay.
For me, I think the communication in terms of who we listen to, in terms of the influencers who tunaendaga sijui boys club, I don't know what, and do keybase, and like these influencers are actually doing something. They wameko mahali in the society whereby people listen to them and they don't raise up. When they raise up this kind of issues, they're mediocre. They just make fun of them. And I feel like the guys who are up there, they've been given a role, and they need to make sure that they highlight, they talk about, because most of the time they just pinpoint what other people are doing and why they're weak as men, you get me? So you find that they don't talk about these issues like in depth, and us men ni tunatakaga tunaambiwa na tunaelezwa, and then tunaambiwa tena. So sasa people who are in these positions, they in society, like people who listen to them, they actually need to talk about them often. So I feel, as for me, I usually, with my friends, we usually talk. We always have these conversations. Also listening to your peers, because they also have different perspective of how things they were raised, and also now we give them a different aspect. So having this, it's constructive criticism towards each other. Okay, how do we do things better? They give you a solution. You also come up with a solution, and you find a balance whereby, as he said, you come up with different avenues in books, mediums that we can showcase different things that are happening, but in a nice, respectful way, whereby everyone, you're able to teach your kids, and they're able to, they are able to understand, you get me, the B's and the whatevers. Yeah, so that's just basically like starting that conversation. Yes.
Asanteni.
Can I add something just to piggyback off his point? I think we need to break the barriers between us, as, let me even put myself in the children category, and our parents or our leaders. There's a whole research that was done about how teens and youth go to, like, who they go to for counsel and advice and all these things. And topping that list was their peers, social media, then huku at the end is religious leaders and parents. And I believe that if you start having these conversations with your children in the space of the home, there's no one better to be safe with and be vulnerable and be accountable to than your folks. And so I think that gap needs to be bridged between parents and kids. It means that our parents need to be a little more lenient a bit more understanding and not very quick to point fingers and perhaps shame the children, but create an avenue and an opportunity and a platform for them to open up with some of these deeper lying things, and that could be the best avenue to bring in this kind of conversations. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very valuable.